You guys know Vincent Van Gogh, a very talented painter that's well known around the world. He has 860 paintings, and all of them are very valuable and they're in museum. But behind this face and all this talent, there was a man struggling for his health. Like for example, on December 23rd, 1888, Van Gogh was arguing with another artist about a painting. He got angry and cut off his own ear. 2 years after this happened, Vincent Van Gogh killed himself with a gun. When they studied how Van Gogh acted in real life, they noticed that he had schizophrenia. Schizophrenia has a lot of different names, but it's a mental illness that's pretty common. This mental illness affects your mental health, the way you act, speaking, and the way you think. When a person suffers from schizophrenia, their life just becomes more difficult. Like they try to find new friends, this mental illness comes in the way. They try to study, but their thoughts won't let them. And this avoids them from reaching their goal. The bad thing about schizophrenia is that it's very complicated. Like for example, a person has it from a young age, but the older he gets, the less and less he suffers from it. Or it could be the opposite. The older they get, the worse the condition gets. But they believe schizophrenia shows itself after 18 years old. It's very rare to see this condition under the age of 18. Males usually show it around the age of 20, but women show it around the age of 30. The first thing it does, it basically messes up your mood. Then it affects your thoughts, and sleeping will be difficult. For other people, they start to have delusional thoughts, like they think they're speaking to someone, but they don't really exist. And they could also talk to the radio or television. If a person suffers from this condition, and if you tell them there's nobody there you're talking to, they won't believe you, and they believe they're actually talking to a real person. Some people have positive delusion, like he goes in front of the mirror and sees himself as like a president, and he actually believes in it. What we mean by positive delusion is that it doesn't make the person have anxiety, and it makes them actually happy. Sometimes schizophrenic people go through a depression phase, and when anybody sees them, they actually believe that they're depressed. Doctors believe that they're not actually depressed, but they make themselves believe they're depressed. And if you tell them everything is fine but you don't have to worry about anything, they won't believe it. They say no, everything is falling apart. And another thing is that when they make themselves believe something, it's hard to get them off that. Another issue is that the person doesn't believe they have a mental illness. And that's the case when a lot of people try to help, but they won't accept the help. Just like bipolar disorder, which we made a video on, it's not completely known. But they know that this illness is genetic, and if it runs in the family, there's a high chance the kids will get it. Doctors say if a mother or father has schizophrenia, there's a 10% chance that the child will have it as well. And for something like this, 10% is very high. If there is a schizophrenic person, there's a 50% chance that their siblings would have it. We now notice that it's genetic. But having schizophrenia doesn't only come from genetics. A person can actually cause themselves to have this illness. How? With drugs. Drugs like cocaine or other drugs that affect the brain can wake up schizophrenia in a human's brain and activate it. Another thing is concussion. If a person gets hit in the head very hard, there's a chance it could wake up the schizophrenia. Some people have schizophrenia and they talk with a doctor. The doctor noticed that they have a tumor in their brain. When they did the procedure and took out the tumor, they noticed that schizophrenia is gone. Doctors believe in this situation, there's a chance a tumor can grow in an area of the brain that affects your brain to have an illness just like schizophrenia. So if somebody suffers from this mental illness, is there a way to fix it? Yes, there is a way, and that's if the person is willing to talk to a doctor, and the doctor can run tests to see what actually is bothering and to diagnose it. And in that case, the doctor can prescribe medication, and now they can have it under control. But unfortunately, schizophrenic people are not willing to accept help, and that is why the suicide rate for this mental illness is very high. Van Gogh had the same problem. He wouldn't accept that he's suffering, and since he was known around, it's been written how he would act as a person, and it really shows that he was a schizophrenic. Van Gogh in his whole life couldn't keep a friend, couldn't live with a girlfriend or wife, and he couldn't have any kids. He would live with his brother until his brother would get sick and kick him out of the house. And that's when he moved in with his mother. But the interesting part is that when he lived with his mother, he would not talk with her. So he basically just stayed there and painted. But there's a question. Why did Van Gogh in that argument cut off his own ear? They believe the reason is he didn't want to hear anymore. And he believed if he did that, he wouldn't hear the thoughts anymore. There's another situation where he got angry and he drank a bottle of paint, but the doctor didn't allow him to get poisoned and they fixed him up. And that's until 1890, Vincent Van Gogh killed himself and he said goodbye to his own life. Do you see this painting? This is one of Vincent's paintings, and they believe he painted it 1 month before his suicide. This painting in the year 1990 sold for $82.5 million. And if you want to count that in today's dollars, it's $163 million. Either way, Van Gogh didn't live in a time where schizophrenia was noticed. But now it's getting known more and more each day, and they can control it. They just have to speak with the doctor and have them diagnose it.